Hello and welcome to Nope There's Only Trash Here podcast. Joining me this week is a very special guest. He's a wonderful man and all that good stuff. It's ProtoMario.
Hello guys.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. I'm calling it a show, you know. It's not doing too well, but I'm going to call it a show so I can at least pretend that...
Well, you know, you play pretend as a kid, so...
Yeah, exactly, you can transfer that to an adult and keep it going forever. Living delusion, it's a positive thing, I think. I don't know.
I think so. I'd like to keep that in my head.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I'm going to go a bit off topic already, but because I want to know your opinion on something, because like one of the reasons why I started doing the podcast instead of, you know, the other stuff and trying something new is that Let's Playing is kind of dying. I kind of feel like, you know, you make Let's Plays, there's so many Let's Plays that it's just kind of getting way too saturated. I talked about this in my 2-year anniversary video, but I mean, I understand you're kind of having similar problems with people just not caring about Let's Plays anymore.
Yeah, I honestly... I gotta say it again, and disclaimer, you like whoever you like, that's fine, but I cannot stand major YouTubers like Gang Grumps. They're pieces of fucking dog shit, and because of them, they've spawned about 1.5 billion people who just do LPs to get attention. I just, if you don't believe me, if you do not believe me, the day a game comes out, any game, type into YouTube, game's name, LP, and see how many videos come up.
Yeah, it's getting pretty embarrassing, because it wouldn't be so bad if it was people were kind of putting effort into those videos, but if you watch them, there's no effort there. They just slap it on, and then they're just like, hey, this is DuckTales 2, I've just brought it, it's good. And then that's pretty much what they say for the whole video. So you can't even, like, respect what they're doing. They're just being lazy and trying to be popular and make money off it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the worst part about it is, you know, as a YouTube partner, you're privy to some YouTube licenses. So, like, you know, you and me are YouTube partners, so we have licenses for certain things. You know, we won't get sued if we put up footage for certain things. But, you know, everyone and their mom throws up footage, and these companies aren't putting copyrights on them, which just oversaturates the market again. And I'm not saying I'm for copyrights, but it would definitely help calm it down for the people who are actually good at what they do.
Well, I think it does need to be calmed down because, you know, more recently, more companies are now being stricter with copyright. And that's got to be just because of how many people post so many, you know, videos of new games. Like, with Metal Gear Rising and Metal Gear Solid, my LP and reviews of those, Konami are now slapping on copyright things, telling me that this is our footage, you know. We're not going to do anything, we're just letting you know that you're borrowing our footage, and we're such cool guys, we're just going to leave it be. But I know that in a year's time, it's just going to be, like, by the end of this year, Let's Playing is, like, going to be at such a different place, and it's not going to be a good thing.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too. There's a couple people out there that I respect. You, Cal's crazy. But then there's people out there that are like, you know, they're going to try and fight the power and be like, yeah, but, you know, blah, 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 blah. And all they do is they just record the footage, like you said, and say 2 words. And it's pathetic. It's a cry for attention if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, it's definitely not good. So with that little detour, I thought, you know, you're the first, well, my brother was on here Let's Playing, but you're one of the first people, you know, another big Let's Player, so I thought I'll get that out of the way, but it's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to attack the big issues in a major new way, different spins, risky, you know, jokes about the spins. None of that will probably happen, actually. But,
yes.
You know, we'll give it a go anyway. So this week we got 3 stories we're going to talk about. The biggest one I feel like are the rumours and reports going around about the new Xbox. Now we know everything we need to, or the PS4 has pretty much been revealed, the Wii U's already out if you consider that next gen. But with the new Xbox, Microsoft, they still haven't announced anything. And that's why it's kind of not good about what they are saying. So I'll quickly say what the main 3 points that I got from these rumours are, that are, because these are reports based on sources, so there's a good chance they're going to be true, but of course you can't say they definitely are true, they just probably will be. So the first one is that all games are going to be required to be installed on the Xbox, a bit like with the 360, you slap in the disc, you install it, so you play off the disc. Second point is that you won't really use the Blu-ray, that it's going to be Blu-ray, and you won't really use the Blu-ray, it's just there to say you have a copy of the game pretty much. And the third one is the phrase always on, always connected, which pretty much refers to DRM, and there's a very good chance that you'll have to be connected to the internet all the time. Now I know you, ProtoMario, quite a bit, and I'm sure you are delighted by these rumours.
Tom, I used to be an ex-soldier, and let me tell you how much fun it is to get to an internet connection when you're stranded in Afghanistan.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, I was running internet off my laptop at 24 kilobytes per second. If you don't know anything about computers, dial-up is 58, 56 kilobytes per second. Dial-up. Okay, so I was using a cell phone SIM card to run internet. You don't have internet in areas like that, and when you live in the country, okay, you're not going to have internet. There's not enough houses per road to get the cable company to come out and put cable. So if you're lucky enough that your satellite will provide you with internet, which a lot of satellite companies don't, you might be able to have the new Xbox 360 if it's always on. This is just another form of control, consumer control, to see what we're doing, why we're doing it, what we like, so they can advertise to us.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good thing, and if this is the direction they're going in, you only have to look at this year with the SimCity fiasco. That was just, it went so bad, and this kind of thing has been happening for a while, and then you kind of think that companies would wise up, but Microsoft has just been on a really bad path for about half of the Xbox's life. Starting with about the Kinect, they were like, oh, let's release the Kinect, and then we're going to make this multimedia device. And I'm assuming this DRM online thing is going to be a continuation of that idea of, oh, you're going to get all your stuff whenever you want it. It's always going to be there. You're always going to be able to watch the latest films, even though you've brought a gaming console and you don't really care about that stuff. So I think whether they actually do this, I couldn't say. I think there's a good chance, but either way, I think with Microsoft's the way they're kind of handling gaming, I think the new Xbox, at this point, I'm not really interested.
I'm very unhappy because I have a lot of titles for my Xbox, and if history teaches us anything, okay, would anyone please out there put it in the comments section below if you can get on Xbox Live, original Xbox Live, and play some Halo 2. Fire it up. Go on and fire it up. Tell me how it works. Because it doesn't. Because they discontinued it. And the same thing's going to happen with the Xbox 360. Microsoft's only out to make money. They're not out to give us what we need as quote-unquote gamers. Okay? Whatever you bought before, whatever you had before, if it's online only, I feel bad for you because you just wasted your money.
That's what makes this all confusing. Like, it's definitely going to lead to something bad. It means that, an old game that you have, you're not going to be able to play. I mean, even if it's not DM or like constantly, or you have to be connected, it's still going to, the way they're phrasing it and thinking about it, I would assume it's still going to use DRM in a big way. So maybe, sure, you can technically play your game, but half the features will be disabled. And it's just, there's no positive as a consumer for this. There is no positive. There's no good reason why you would have to always stay connected. And that's what I'm confused by, even with the SimCity thing. It's like, so what's the positive? What's the upside? We all know about the downside, but there's no positive. There's no reason why I would be happy about this.
Right. you know, a lot of manufacturers try to masquerade it as if you're always connected, you have a social network that you can share, and you can share ideas between people, and you can manage cities with your friends. That was the idea behind SimCity. And yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. It's a good idea to have as a secondary option. You know, I remember growing up in the days where you were able to select if you wanted to play multiplayer or not. You know, there was plenty of games that were online able and offline able. Diablo is a classic example. You can play single player offline, or you can play multiplayer online, and it's the same game. It's just when you're online, you have other people. DRM is bad for the consumer, no matter who the consumer is.
Oh yeah, that's it. Everyone just wants to play the game they want to play it, and this kind of represents the, you know, the people or the company saying you're doing it this way, and we don't care. So, I mean, at this point, like, looking at the PS4, they seem to have a good kind of compromise going on. Of course, we have to wait until the thing comes out to see how it all comes together, but they seem to have a good way of saying, it's like, okay, when you're online, you've got your kind of communities, you've got your Facebook, whatever. I'm not a big fan of integrating social media into gaming. I think it's pointless, but it's, you know, that seems to be the right idea, but you can still sit down and kind of play your games, but there's just a lot of online features. So I hope Microsoft go this kind of way, but I don't know. At this point in time, I just don't see it.
I honestly, I don't want to play. I don't want to have a PS4. I'm sorry. I have so many Xbox 360 titles. I have so much time invested, and I just like the controller so much better. But if this happens, I'm not gonna stay with Xbox 360. I'm not a blind fan. I will have to switch.
Yeah, people are going to make that switch and are willing to make that switch. And, you know, in this holiday season, when the PS4 comes out and the Wii U drops in price some more, I'm assuming, then people are going to have to make a choice. And, I mean, let's just hope Microsoft know what they're doing.
Yeah, let's not forget that there's also other competing companies out there that are vying for your attention. Steam is one of them, and you don't have to have the most badass rig to play a lot of games. Steam sales make Microsoft sales look like a joke. You know, you can get games for dollars. Right now, Saints Row 3, the complete edition with every DLC included, no DRM necessary, is on sale for $13. And that retails on Microsoft for $30 plus almost $50 for all the DLC included. You know, like, if you're a consumer and you know what you're doing, if you get a Steam box, it'll kill all the competition with sales like that.
Well, that's something they really need to consider, because with graphics slowing down and with graphics not, you know, making the leaps and bounds that they used to, I think more and more people they could easily go over to, you know, PC gaming with the setups people have with the huge TVs and the HDMI. You can plug it in, and if this Steam box, you know, works out, then, you know, like, consoles need to offer the console experience, because that's why people buy them. So if they're messing around too much, because on a PC, on a laptop, you can watch films, you can play music,
Exactly.
You can already do all that stuff. So it's ultimately pointless. But I mean, I guess we'll have to see.
I know a lot of the companies, they just look and they vie for what are you going to buy that you're going to get the most use out of. And so they've turned the console into a Swiss Army knife sort of thing, when all along video games have just been their own outlet. I never bought a PS3 for the sole purpose of watching movies. I never bought a PS2 for the DVD player. I never bought an Xbox 360 to listen to music and watch Netflix. You know, it's like people forget. There's separate things for you there. Smartphones have the apps that do the same thing that your console does. Even TVs nowadays have built-in apps that do what the consoles do. If they keep trying to do the jack of all trades and stop specializing in one department, then these watered-down consoles that are coming out to vie for the casual person's attention is going to fail, just like Sega, just like Atari, and just like several other companies that have released consoles in the past did.
Well, this generation is definitely going to be very interesting. Even just at this point, you can see it's going to play out completely different to how the last generation has. So, I think with that, let's move on to the next segment or the next news thing. That was the big one. So these ones are kind of like cool little things, but nothing really too major. The second thing I wanted to mention or talk about here is the Deus Ex Human Revolution, the game that came out, I believe, last 2012. Maybe? I don't know.
I'll get that information for you.
Nice. I do own it, but I've never touched it. Square Enix, after teasing that they were going to port one of their AAA titles to the Wii U, finally revealed that it was Deus Ex Human Revolution, and that it will be coming out in May with, of course, new features, slightly improved graphics, stuff on the touchpad. And the only reason I kind of bring this up is because it's kind of hard at this point to see if any of this is a good thing for the Wii U. Of course, it's good that games are coming out for the thing, but when they're releasing games that are a year old that most people have already played, you gotta think that is Nintendo taking the best tactics to becoming a next-gen console? Because assumingly they want the Wii U to continue on for another 5 years or so. So, I mean, does any of these ports kind of make you want a Wii U, Proto?
No, and this is a 2011 game.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, so let's talk 2 years. On top of that, this is a game that I was not excited about. I know a couple people were, but it just appeals to a small niche audience, and that's the problem. I wanted to. I'm going to make a separate video on this, but has Nintendo forgotten about their own series? What happened to Metroid? What happened to Metroid, guys? I'd love a new Metroid. I'm not even going to talk about the other M. Okay, don't get me started. But Metroid Prime, okay, they did great things with that series. Why can't they do it with the pad? And I'm sure they're holding out and they're developing it and they're going to release one. But Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers, Mario Party, Mario Tennis, Mario Brothers, Super Mario World, a new Yoshi's Island, a new Zelda, a separate Zelda entry, a separate Metroid entry, a new Metroid entry, Donkey Kong. I've got licenses under Nintendo's control that they can put it out. But instead, they're focusing on games that people have already played. I don't understand it.
Well, it's kind of odd because all those games you listed by Nintendo are great games, but the odd thing about it is that Nintendo have always, with the Wii U, they've been talking about the hardcore market, and we need to bring back the hardcore gamer. And they have a lot of hardcore franchises, like Metroid, F-Zero. Right. You could argue Star Fox as well because of the, space shooter of that game. But
I think Kirby's pretty hardcore.
I think, I wouldn't mess with that guy. He would eat me and wear my hair. It'd be embarrassing.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, he'll take my ability to make bad videos, but I'm just messing.
Oh, you're so silly, Tom.
Oh. But yeah, so it seems weird because they've announced a load of games that are coming, a load of franchises that are coming. But yeah, like you said, they're all the ones that they're the massive pill ones. Everyone enjoys the new Mario Kart, but it's a massive pill game. Mario Kart Wii did really well on the Wii and sold I think over 20 million copies. But that didn't persuade the hardcore people to buy the thing. So if they want the hardcore market, you can't just port old games. They need to bring in their own franchises, before they worry about other people's. They need to bring out their own HD Metroid, their own HD F-Zero.
Exactly.
And then people will, jump on, hopefully.
Exactly. There were some hardcore games for the Wii, for the GameCube. Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. Mm-hmm. That is not for a casual gamer. They had games, a Mad World, that had a lot of blood and gore in it. No More Heroes, that was pretty hardcore. It appealed for more mature audiences. I don't understand what Nintendo's problem is. I'm really sorry, Nintendo. I really am. I apologize that you didn't hop on the COD train, and you're not making $1 billion off a rehashed franchise every year. Okay, I apologize for that. But Metroid could easily become one of the top first-person shooters ever, I think.
Well, if Halo did it, then I think they could do it with Metroid. certainly. But I mean, they are trying. You know, they're publishing Bayonetta 2, and that's pretty cool. But I think that's about it, unless you include the ports. And then again, they're ports no one cares about. So, I mean, it's kind of cool that this is happening with the Ultimate Editions, but I haven't seen any Ultimate Editions on the Wii U that have been essential to purchase as a fan. You know, there was Batman. You know, everyone loved Batman and Arkham City. I really enjoyed that game, but then I saw the Wii version of it, and, you know, I couldn't be persuaded to buy it. So I think these are only appealing to the fans of the thing, and even then the fans won't care because there's not that much new to it. So I mean, you can kind of appreciate the effort, but you know, we're gonna have to see what Nintendo can come out with in 2014 once the next gen consoles are out, because they can't just keep doing this. They got to come out with new games and make sure they have, you know, GTA 5, make sure they have the new Call of Duty. They need to have those franchises, not the older ones.
Right. That's what I think too. I think they're focusing way too much on this crap.
Well, I think the one thing that's kind of interesting is that I think this kind of show the fact that companies are going for it, even though the Wii U sales have been pretty terrible. I mean, it's got to show that the Wii U must be really cheap to make games on it, like, right? Because they just wouldn't bother otherwise porting these old games. They must be paying like so little money to make games for the Wii U that maybe that's something that will factor in, you know, later on in the generation.
Right. I don't know. I think that a part of Nintendo is saying to themselves, well, you know, all our Wii U fans, they only bought a Wii U. And they're not thinking that people who bought a Wii U also have an Xbox 360. So they're just sitting there and they're like, oh, you know, we got to port over all these old games that were really big hits because our Wii users have never played them. And they're stuck in this little box where they think that a person who owns a Wii couldn't possibly own an Xbox 360 or PS3. Oh, no way possible. When in fact, most people who own a Wii also own a second system or a third system so that they can play those games when they came out, you know?
Yeah, especially with how long the console generation was, you know, 7, 8 years. You know, maybe in another one they could kind of persuade themselves that that was the case, but it's not. There's probably not 10 people, I guess, and they must be like, oh my god, there was a Batman game? And it's like, what is this? I get to play this now? I can play something else other than Super Mario Galaxy? This is crazy. Because, you know, the Wii sold well, but it was with, you know, families. So the core Nintendo fans is not that big. You know, you can just see that with the Wii U. It's not that massive. So, yeah, it's definitely kind of a silly move here, but I mean, you know, it was a bit. The 360 suffered a very similar thing, so hopefully we'll see this kind of stopping. But you know, until then, we just gotta wait it out.
Yeah, I agree.
So with that, let's get on to the third bit of gaming news that came out this week. Capcom, you know, they're a mixed bag when it comes to their announcements. And this time at PAX East, they have announced that DuckTales is going to get re-released and remastered for PSN, Xbox Live Arcade, and the Nintendo Shop on the Wii U. And it's going to be completely redone. From the look of the trailer, what they're doing 3D environments, but all the sprites are going to be in 2D. And in case you don't know, DuckTales was a game that came out on the NES. It was a platformer, and it was one of the best ones. I haven't personally played it, but it was supposed to be really good, so I think a lot of people are excited about this. And what do you think about it, Proto?
I'm going on record and saying I fucking love DuckTales. I'm going on record and saying I will kill someone over DuckTales right now if you give me the opportunity.
Oh.
And this is probably one of the single best news stories, whatever. Information.
They're all words.
Yeah, information that comes from Capcom, since they just like to fuck people in the ass all of 2011, 2012 too. I guess they just decided that they've had enough ass and they're going to go back to giving people stuff instead of railing them out.
So the really cool thing about this, I haven't played DuckTales at all, but I'm definitely going to check out this remake because, you know, there were a lot of great NES games, and the surprising thing about this generation, because there's Xbox, you know, Xbox Live Arcade and, you know, PSN, is that you would think more of this would have happened, more NES games coming out, more Super NES games, and there's been a decent amount of it. But I think Capcom are the only one that really kind of pushed it, because they're doing DuckTales, they did the 2 new Mega Man games that were in the retro style, they did the Bionic Commando game. And I mean, it's something, I want this to kind of start a trend, because this idea is really cool, but honestly, I don't think it's going to start any sort of trend.
Right. I know only a few companies have released things like compilation discs, which is a little bit of a problem. You know, there's so many games out there that fans are clamoring to have re-released and remastered. Earthbound.
Oh.
And, yeah, the companies, they're just like, yeah, you know, 650 million fans, that's not enough. You know what? We're just gonna go ahead and release this game that you don't give a shit about. And the fans' faces are just like, oh. It's like, why, man? Why? You've seen the success with the re-release of Devil May Cry HD collection. People love that. It was great. They had all 3 games on one HD disc. You know, why aren't more games being released like that? Like Metal Gear Solid with Konami. Metal Gear Solid HD on all 3 discs. It's great. You know, I don't understand why other companies aren't taking advantage of this.
Well, I think the thing is that a lot of people kind of are, but a lot of them have kind of messed it up. It's kind of weird, like, because they think, oh, we're going to port this new game, they're just going to port it and not do it right. You know, with this DuckTales Remastered, they've gone back and redone it all, so that's why it looks really good and people are going to buy it. But yeah, with the Metal Gear Solid thing, they didn't put in Twin Snakes. And, you know, that's Metal Gear 1. You want Metal Gear 1, 2, and 3. Peace Walker's cool, but you want that one. And
Right.
with the Silent Hill HD collection, they only put in 2 and 3. They didn't put in 1, even though it's the original. And they didn't even put 4 in there, even though they easily could have done. So, I mean, that's just kind of the odd thing about all this, that not many companies this generation have figured that out, where they can re-release these games and do it right and keep the fans happy. Although, you know, with this DuckTales, it looks like they are going to be doing that at last.
Yeah, one can only hope. We'll see if there's going to be some super DLC.
Yeah, probably. Fingers crossed. Although, Way Forward are making it, who are, you know, kind of a small company, so maybe it'll work out. Maybe it will. But,
Maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, if you just think about all the NES games, like, if Konami turn around, they're not doing too well. If they turn around and redid, like, the original Castlevanias and, you know, gave them new graphics, I think people would be all over that. And I think there's, like, a load of examples like that, but I don't know. I guess they just don't want to do it.
Right.
So that's it for the gaming news. There are some new games that are coming out or have come out, but discussing them before the show, me and Proto kind of came to the conclusion that we haven't played them but would like to, and that's about it. The 3 games I kind of quickly jotted down were The Walking Dead Survival Instinct, which, have you seen footage of that? Because that game looks terrible, like really bad.
Yeah, I don't know what they were going for, actually. If I had to take a guess, I guess they were trying to cash in on how big the Walking Dead, you know, The Walking Dead, the game, did, but I don't know what they were going for. It was not developed or published by Telltale Games. Let me make that very prominent up front. The same company that created the one previous episodic downloadable content game did not do this one, and this one was developed by Terminal Reality and published by good old Activision, which Activision is known for its just quality.
Always. Yeah, this game just kind of... I saw the trailer and I was like, I'm not buying that. The graphics were terrible. The idea of doing a spin-off first-person shooter of The Walking Dead, that's pretty cool, but you know, based on the reviews and based on the trailer, they obviously didn't put it off at all.
Yeah, I'm I'm not impressed.
Yeah. Well, the other two games look really good. The first one is Luigi's Mansion 2: Dark Moon. The 3DS has kind of had this like steady kind of, you know, there's been no game explosions in terms of what's been coming out for the thing, but it seems like once probably when Super Mario 3D Land came out, they've been able to keep up a steady, you know, kind of flow of decent games. And this one's meant to be really good, and I really want to play it. I just don't have the cash.
Yeah, that one just released today in North America, and you're going to have to wait 4 days, but since you don't have money, I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Nope.
A lot of people have given it pretty good review praises. You know, one company said it was a 6.5 out of 10. I don't know. I guess it's looking just the same as Luigi's Mansion was on the original GameCube, but a lot more refined and better since it was a GameCube launch title. So if you know anything about launch titles, guys, they do not harness the potential of the system at all. So this one is not a launch title, making it a probably more roundabout experience with 3DS and using its gyroscope and accelerometer.
Accelerometer. I think that's how
accelerometer. There we go.
Accelerometer.
And I've heard that it also has multiplayer mode that can be used with local area connections or Wi-Fi, which is going to be really cool.
Yeah, it looks really good, because that was the major complaints people had about Luigi's Mansion 1, that it was kind of a bit short and it wasn't fleshed out enough. So, I mean, it's awesome that they finally got around to doing it, and it seems like they actually pulled it off, which is exciting.
Yeah, I know this was a big title that a lot of fans were clamoring for, which, you know, finally Nintendo actually releases a title fans are asking for. And what do you know? It was a good game and people bought it.
Yeah, it should be good. So the third game is Gears of War Judgment, which again has got good reviews, and I mean, in my opinion, it probably is really good. I do want to play it, but even if I had the money, I probably wouldn't pick it up because it's more Gears of War. It's a good game, but it's nothing interesting to it, and the fact that it's a prequel means that I'll get it this summer, but I'm not that fussed about it right now.
Yeah, this one was developed and published by Epic Games and Microsoft Studio, but they also had help from People Can Fly. I don't know if anyone knows that. It runs off the Unreal Engine 3.5, and it was just released in North America also. From what I've seen from it, I see no difference between Gears of War 3 and this one, besides the modes that are available, the characters, and the story. But the whole look of the game makes it feel just like Gears of War 3, just a little bit different. And I see not really a big difference between the two. So if you already have 3, you might want to wait on it and get it later.
Yeah, it looks good, but nothing to rush out for. And after playing Bulletstorm, I'm not too fussed.
Oh, yes. Let's not jump to conclusions. It's probably a good average game. It got average scores about 70, 80. Of course, IGN gave it a 9.2 out of 10 and like 7. So, IGN, really? Like, how much money are you getting paid? Just stop. Just stop.
Yeah, we should probably just forget about Bulletstorm. You know, everyone else did who played it.
Never.
No?
I will never forget.
It's my favourite game.
There you go.
Suck it, Resident Evil 4.
You and like one other person across the world in Australia.
We just play it co-op every night.
Every night.
It's like, man.
Oh man, this is our 10th time co-oping this shit in a row.
Oh man, did you see the whip?
Did you see that? Oh, I did such a sick whip trick. Oh my god.
He said dick. That's good. That's comedy.
Shit, he's hard, man. He sounds like Marcus. No, he's not Marcus.
No, he's not that sexy.
He's not Marcus.
Alright, and with that, that's current gaming news done. I haven't come up with a snappy title for any of this stuff yet. You know, it took me many days to come up with Nope, There's Only Trash Here as the name, so I haven't named the sections, but we're going to go into the final kind of part of this podcast, which is, again, the topics. So like the other times, we're going to talk about a specific gaming topic, not necessarily relating to anything going on in the news, but, you know, to make it different or do something a bit different. So, seeming how I have you here, Proto, I think a good topic would be, which is the best Halo game out there? Because I know you're a massive Halo fan.
Honestly, I liked Reach the most.
Sure.
Everyone can crucify me, but you can all go fuck yourselves because I don't care. I know everyone says Halo 3. Oh my god, Halo 3 is the best game ever. Halo 3, Halo 3. You know, I think people only like Halo 3 due to the nostalgia factor. I don't have the Halo. I played it as a kid, but it's not nostalgic to me. So I think Reach is the best. Coming up second would probably be the CE Anniversary remake, which is just a really refined version of the original Halo CE. And then, of course, Halo 4 or Halo 3, and I think Halo 2 would be the last one on my list, just due to the fact that at the time there was no internet connection and it left you with a cliffhanger on the ending. So that was kind of like, man, fuck you, bullshit.
So, not Halo Wars.
Oh, you mean the game that's supposed to be on a computer and is not on a computer just to sell more Xbox consoles? Yeah, no.
And bankrupt the company who made Age of Empires.
Yeah.
That game.
That game.
So I think it's safe to say it's definitely not Halo Wars. I played that back in the day, and it was just not good. There were some good ideas there, but it wasn't fun to play. So yeah, let's just burn that in a fire forever.
I definitely think if you enjoy Halo Wars, you're probably a person who really enjoys RTSs. Maybe you grew up on Red Alert and stuff like that. And I did. I loved Red Alert. But, you know, there's just only... I just don't want to play that with a Halo game.
No. It was a nice idea, but it shouldn't have been on consoles.
Exactly.
Like, the thing is, with those sort of games, the whole appeal is that you're kind of messing around. You know, you're seeing how many snipers you can build to send to their death against a load of dogs. Or, you know, when I played, I was messing around most of the time. So it was weird to play Halo Wars because it didn't let you mess around at all. You just were so limited. You had to do build the certain units and then tell them to go over there. So it really was completely misguided.
Right, and again, I gotta tell you, if it was just on PC, you know, you have your keyboard, you have your mouse. Come on, Microsoft owns the OS that it would run on too, so it's not like they wouldn't make money. They just do it to sell Xboxes.
Yeah, it was silly. So let's look at the other black sheep in all this, and that's ODST. Now, that's not really a full game.
Oh
dear. But, I mean...
We don't even have a multiplayer mode.
Wow.
There's no Spartans.
Well, I mean, if you look at it as a Halo game, it's pretty bad. But if you look at it as what it was meant to be, as like a DLC campaign, you know, it's pretty good. I definitely enjoyed it. You know, I wouldn't say it was one of the best, as it didn't really have that many great moments in it, but I think as a side game it was interesting, at least.
Yeah, as a side title, it's great. And when it came out, you know, you didn't have to pay $60 for it, it would have been not so bad. I know the price eventually dropped to like $30, but still, man, all there is, you know, just the story. That's it, you know. I mean, of course there's firefight, but that'll only hold you off for so long. Mm-hmm. And then the multiplayer that came with it was just the Halo 3 experience, and that's it.
Well, I really appreciated that disc because I didn't have any of the Halo 3 DLC, but I had Halo 3, so then I was suddenly like, oh, all these maps. So for me it worked out, but of course for any fans of Halo, they probably would have brought most of the Halo 3 DLC anyway, making it completely pointless. So yeah, so of course that can be one of the best ones, but still, you know, it was a nice distraction from the main series.
Yeah, I concur. There were only a couple problems I had with it. One, the HP system was really, really weird on it. I never understood what kind of damage I took. My life bar would be up there, and then it would be low, and, then it would be, like, middle, and then it'd be low, and it'd be like, okay, so, like, what does a plasma pistol do to me? What does a bazooka do to me? I don't understand the hits. And then, two, I really hated the dark environment, where there was absolutely, like, no light in a lot of situations, and you were forced to use that weird vision state that you had. I've never liked that in games. Night vision, weird vision, thermal vision, that's just not my thing.
No, they never really work. And if you're going to have a place being all dark, you kind of have to make it stylized so it works, and they kind of messed that up. But now, the question is, you went through your list pretty much, so I'm going up that list. The question is, which is worse, Halo 2 or Halo 4? Because to me, they were both kind of disappointing. With Halo 2, great multiplayer, really great multiplayer, a lot of good new additions, but that campaign, that campaign really dragged, and just there was a lot of bad stuff in Halo 2's campaign.
For me, Halo 2's less than Halo 4. I'm going to say it. I'm sorry. I know you disagree with me, but I love Halo 4. That's fine. You don't like it. That's cool. I don't play it as much as I used to. But with Halo 2, when it came out and I was able to play it, I didn't have high-speed internet. And by the time I got out of the Army and I had high-speed internet, the Halo 4 server, or the Halo 2 servers were down. And I never got a chance to really play it online. So, the multiplayer didn't even register for me.
See, yeah, because I'm actually going to agree with you on this one, that Halo 2 is worse, because I didn't even beat the campaign in Halo 2. It just, me and a mate were like, hey, Halo 1 was awesome co-op. They've now released 2, let's sit down and play it. And then somewhere between that really boring Arbiter mission, it was just like, we should just stop playing this and do anything else with our lives. So, like, the multiplayer was fun, but I had fun with the multiplayer in Halo 4 as well. So overall, I'm going to have to go with Halo 4, because sure, it was the campaign. My problems with the campaign is that there was a lot of rehash, and the story was kind of dumb, but I mean, it was playable rehash, and I stuck to it. There was no point where I just wanted to turn it off. I just thought it was a bit unspectacular. So yeah, I'm going to say that, in this list, Halo Wars, ODST, Halo 2, and then Halo 4.
Right. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, so then it comes down to, and these are the three that I think everyone out there would consider the best three: Halo 1, Halo 3, and Halo Reach. Now, each kind of have their own credit, with Halo 1 being the original, with Halo 3 being the big event, and then with Halo Reach being the definitive version of Halo. So the question that, you got to ask yourself when you're kind of thinking which is the best one is, which one of those three is the most appealing? And I think if you take off the nostalgia goggles, I agree, it's Halo Reach. They just did so many things right in that game that it's my personal favorite.
Right. The thing with Halo Reach is it's the whole package, and nowadays it is dirt cheap. You can get a download token on eBay for anywhere from $5 to $10, so you don't even have to bother with the disc. On top of that, you get extra things that are cool, like armor effects, okay? Those are just snazzy little additions, but you get to customize your own Spartan, and in the campaign, your Spartan actually looks like what your Spartan is. It's not just a Master Chief clone. That's cool. That's awesome. It makes you feel like you're actually doing your part in the game, and you're not just some Master Chief clone going through whatever and not getting anything from it. Plus, you get experience from the campaign. You also get experience from the side mode Firefight that can be played online with many people with an ultimate, awesome matchmaking system that allows you to find people very easily. And if that's not enough for you, the multiplayer is there. And they also added a classic mode to the multiplayer where they removed the armor abilities, up the weapons damage to equal out to where it was on CE. So with Reach, you get it all.
Yeah, like Reach really is the ultimate package. And of course, in a way, it's kind of unfair to say that compare a game like with Halo 1, it was the first one. It was a big innovator and did do a lot new, but of course, looking back on it, if we're being honest, Halo Reach has offered a lot more. So, of course, with Halo 1, it's a great game, and you can still have fun replaying it, but, I mean, personally, when I replayed Halo with the CEA edition, I kind of felt that first original campaign had kind of aged a bit, and the real enjoyment came from the nostalgia of going through the first campaign again.
Right. I think honestly the only reason that Halo CE lower on the list for me is just because it doesn't have a comparable multiplayer with it. It just never did. If you wanted to play it on the computer, that's fine. But again, back in the day when it was released, a lot of people didn't have graphics cards for their computer. So they couldn't play it on their computer. So they were stuck with the Xbox version, which didn't have the multiplayer. So again, I'm judging the game based solely around the fact that it doesn't include a multiplayer that allows you to play through it post-story. Because you can only go through the story mode so many times.
Yeah, because... Yeah, that's the thing. It's really good, but it kind of, it's dated. You look back on certain games, they just don't age that well. And in Halo's credit, it's aged pretty well. You can still go back and play it, a whole bunch and still have a good time, but it hasn't aged, perfectly. And the fact that it didn't have those key features that are now part of Halo's kind of appeal, like the multiplayer and all that, kind of do sink it. But with Halo 3, looking back on that game, what made that game really good and why people loved that game is because it was the sequel to Halo 2. And I'm not taking anything away from Halo 3 here, this is just what I think. That Halo 3 was so good because it was on a new console, they figured out the online so you could actually play it, and it did everything that Halo 2 was supposed to be. So I think that's why, in retrospect, people loved that game more. Because after Halo 3 was Halo Reach, technically. So, 3 was really good and people liked it. So with Reach, there wasn't such this big jump to this new awesome title where they fixed everything. So I think that's why Halo 3 gets a lot of credit.
Yeah, I think Halo 3 is popular because when it was released back in 2007, I think I have that right, 2007?
Yes, that sounds right.
Yeah. It didn't have as much competition, okay? The only other game that was out was Call of Duty 4, and it wasn't the big critically acclaimed juggernaut that it is today. So a lot of people were playing Halo 3, and Halo 3 introduced concepts that were amazing to today's standards and back then, and become a staple of today's standards. For example, the matchmaking system that was included in Halo 3, the anti-cheating system that was included in Halo 3. Halo 2 was bogged down with hackers, modders, and things that, would cause serious problems. And while Halo 3 does have its problems on multiplayer still, for whatever reason, it was a big thing back in the day because you could play a game without being hacked, modded, and things like that because you had Bungie staff monitoring the lobbies so that you could play an online match easy, fast, quick, and fun. You never wanted to put down the controller. And I still don't. I still play Halo 3 often and have a great time with it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Halo 3, great campaign. It's still a good game. It's definitely very good. But of course, when you're kind of comparing them and seeing which one's best, you've got to be harsh towards them. So with Halo 3, a lot of people loved it because it was their first online experience. Before that point, it was just this mess where you just have to plug into your phone line, and if your mum was on the phone, she would shout at you, and it was a lot of messing around. But with Halo 3, it was the first online game for a lot of people, and just that moment, it was like, wow, that's awesome. It's kind of like with Mario Kart 64. It's not the best Mario Kart, or I wouldn't say, but it's the first one where you could have 4 people playing the thing, and it's like, wow, that's awesome, and there's a big nostalgia to that. So, well, Halo 3 is a good game. The campaign, there was a lot to like in that game, and you could still sit down and play the campaign and have a good time. Ultimately, you gotta hand it to Reach.
I couldn't agree more. As I said before, Reach is the whole package, but the thing that really sealed the deal for me with Reach, a lot of people didn't like this. I enjoyed the armor abilities. I enjoyed the addition of the armor abilities. They gave you something outside of what was normal. with the Halos. And you got to take that with you in all three of the modes. Plus the customization of your Spartan, and how long it took to rank up. Now, I didn't think it should take that long, because, you know, there's very few people that hit the max rank, and it was only because of time basis. How long did you play the game, and how many credits did you get? But I do believe that if you shorten that just slightly, it would have been one of the best games, because each rank represented something to you, you know? It took this long to rank up. Oh my god, it's not like Call of Duty where you just rank up and you get a new number. In this one, you actually got different ranks. For example, you know, moving from Brigadier General to an actual General was a huge thing. And then getting up to the unique ranks made people sit there and say, oh my god, what is that rank? I don't even know what that rank is. What is it? You know, and you got to be like, oh yeah, it's just Nova, man. It comes after such and such. You know, you got to put in this much time. You got to get these many kills. It was really, really awesome, I think.
Well, yeah, that is one of the strengths of Halo in general, the community. And with Halo Reach, everyone had kind of come on board with online, so it kind of had one of the strongest communities. Of course, you're always going to have negative parts, because that's the nature of online communities. You're always going to have these people. But, you know, funnily enough, by that time, Halo Reach, the community was really good because Call of Duty had taken over so much. With Halo 3, you had all the kind of screaming, like all the annoying 12-year-olds, but they had all moved on to Modern Warfare 2 by the time Reach came around. I think they came out... Yeah, Modern Warfare 2 came out in 2009. Reach came out the following September in 2010. So, yeah, that made Reach like a really good place to play games and a really fun way to play online. So, I mean, Halo 4, you know, of course that's the one that followed it. And I do really enjoy the multiplayer of that, but it's not... I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of bored of online FPSs now, but it didn't have that same impact that Reach had. Even though ultimately, I guess technically it's better because there's more improvements. I don't really know.
Yeah, I agree. I don't play Halo 4 online multiplayer that much. I play a little bit of Spartanos, but even that is kind of boring to me. I don't know. It does not have the same attraction and appeal that Halo Reach did at the time. That's just me. I'm sorry. Don't kill me. Don't kill the messenger.
Well, I mean, I absolutely agree, so... There won't be any stabbing on the podcast, maybe afterwards, I don't know.
Oh, now, Tom.
Well, I don't know.
Don't threaten me with a good time, Tom.
I wouldn't dare. I would not dare. But anyway, as you know, I think we can, with that list, you know, the list is Halo Wars, ODST, Halo 2, Halo 4, Halo 1, Halo 3, and Halo Reach. And I think, you know, that's pretty much it. I think that's the list.
There we go.
Yeah. And if anyone says Halo 4 should be higher, then you can go die in a hole, quite frankly, because I disagree. And it's just not the case. It's not the case.
Yep. It's a solid game, but if I had to pick a game to take with me, it'd be Halo Reach over Halo 4.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that comes to the end of the podcast. These are, like, weirdly figured out to a certain time, like around 50 minutes. I don't know how that's happened, but I guess that's pretty cool, I suppose. Yes. So, yeah, let's do some plugging. Let's make sure the people know where to watch our other stuff. If you want to go see a load of LPs, reviews, news, I guess technically vlogs, but... and head over to ProtoMario's channel, and also there will be videos of me and him talking about stuff and reviewing stuff. I believe at some point there will be... yeah, well, I won't give it away. Just go subscribe to that channel.
The secrets.
I almost let it slip. It's going to be a big surprise.
Better watch it, Tom.
It's going to be
watch it.
It's going to be nuts. And also go over to GameOvision.net on YouTube, just type that in there, and you will see co-op LPs of pretty much all the Halo games, like most of them. Yeah, commercial free too. Yeah. So me and Proto are in most of those. I think the Halo 3 one, that was Timeless Nerds.
Yeah, he did it with me and him. Yeah.
Well, definitely check out the Halo Reach one, because it's the best Halo game. And that features me, ProtoMario, Timeless Nerds, who some prick you never heard of, and the Cow's Crazy. So that's definitely one to check out if you haven't seen it already.
And don't forget our Halo 4 one that is currently going on. And, yeah, it's going to be completed fairly soon.
Hopefully. So, yeah, that's about it for this podcast. Thank you very much, Proto, for joining me on this one.
Sure.
And, if you ever want to do it again, I'll be here. All
right, buddy.
If I'm alone for too long, one of the podcasts will just be me crying in there, just getting snot on the mic,
Tom, you're not that ugly.
Oh, thanks. The mirror disagrees, but thanks.
Oh, did it break again?
Well, they just keep breaking at the shop. I just can't take one home. It's not good.
Yeah, they won't let you shop there anymore.
And then they just chase me out with fire and pitchforks. I don't know what that's all about. Shouting monster,
I don't know
monster.
what that's all about either.
I was just trying to pet that little girl on the head, and it all went out of control. I tell you.
Wait, what?
Well, I'm not, until the jury decides, I can't really discuss that. But anyway, we better end this podcast before the word paedophile is said, and I've already said it. So, yeah, thanks very much for joining me, Proto, and I will see you guys out there next time.
Yep, see you guys next time.